Welcome to this Patreon request video. This month, my patron requested that I watch the Netflix animated series Arcane, which is based off of the League of Legends video game. Now, I'll be honest, I've never played League of Legends, and I'm not really the biggest fan of MOBAs, but I enjoyed this series. I think that if I was familiar with the game, I would be much more familiar with the world and the lore. But I think that they did a pretty good job of showing off what the world was. I think they did the smart thing, and they really just focused on a very small, intimate story of a small group of characters. I think the animation style was something very special. It's like, it is all CG and all 3D, but the way that they textured everything made it look like it was closer to hand-drawn than regular CG. And it's like, when I and a ton of other people bemoan the fact that the industry is just like trying to abandon high-quality 2D animation in favor of 3D, what we really mean is that we've seen what Disney and Pixar and, the stuff that they do. We've seen that. And so it's like when we look at something like Disney's Encanto, it's like anybody can look at that and immediately recognize that yes, this is high quality, this is cutting edge, this is well done. But we've kind of seen it, Now, Arcane, I've never seen that before. I think that what we really want is just more unique art styles. But we don't want to see nothing but, something like Arcane. If Arcane was out for a while, and then it had, a couple more seasons, and there were like 5 other studios that were like, oh, so that's the style that sells. And then they started making, just like the entire industry started following Arcane. You know what? There'd probably be a bunch of people like me who after 5 years of that would say, don't you miss the days when, blah, blah, blah art style was the norm? So I think what I'm really trying to get at is I like variety in what there is available in terms of art styles and things. Even though I still think 2D is king. I've recently been watching a bunch of Don Bluth, and his art style is really good. Even though not all of his movies are good. It's like A Troll in Central Park. It doesn't have a good reputation, and there's a reason for that. I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but holy cow, that movie just did not vibe with me. But anyway, more about Arcane. So the general story is basically there's a city that has a very hard divide between the haves and the have-nots. And the have-nots have like an almost like corrupted and poisoned air where they are, and yeah, it's weird. But it's also like a pretty nice story about like good people on both sides. Like there's an overly ambitious scientist from the top side that wants to do the right things. There's a leader of the underside who failed to mount a revolution and in the end just like tried to do his best to keep relations between the bottom and the top intact. And there are also a bunch of like complicated characters. There are characters who were broken because of things. They were and basically became villains. But it's like, yeah, they do a ton of awful things, but at the same time, they're not completely without merit. It's complicated. It's not afraid to run with shades of gray. Yeah, I enjoyed Arcane. And yeah, I watched the entire series with my girlfriend, and she was able to point out a bunch of details that completely eluded me. She's a lot more keen on a bunch of kinds of details than I am. I think I have more knowledge about the technicalities of animation, although I haven't seen animation like this, so I wasn't able to offer a ton of insight on exactly how they did stuff like what they did. Yeah, so I recommend Arcane. It's a bit violent. They're a little bit over the top when it comes to cropped out nudity. Like, there's a ton of naked people, and while you never actually, see anything, you still see a lot of naked people, if you know what I mean. But yeah, Arcane. Thanks for watching.